hello to the readers of Kuroshinsky. You could actually argue that Flash invented the whole area of interactive video. Flash technologies, when they were first created, was the only way to get consistent video playback and interactivity on any device. So that strategy has changed slightly. So obviously with iOS, there's no Flash player in the browser. So obviously we can't use Flash there. On Android, yep, you're correct. We are moving our strategy away from Flash in the browser there. But let's look at what that actually means. So if you're just rendering video, then native players are going to give you the best performance. Okay, so we have on iOS there's QuickTime, and QuickTime will render that video. So there's a limit to how much anyone else can do. Flash can't do anything else there. Silverlight can't do anything else there. It has to be QuickTime. On Android devices, again, if you want to render video, then the HLS and hardware rendering gives you the best performance. But go back to interactive video. So if you want interactive video, then our strategy there is application. Why? Because that's the way things are going. Android stores, there's the Google store, there's the iOS store, Apple store. So an application written in Air is our technology for actually building interactive environments on those different platforms. So yeah, so we're moving out slightly of the browser because of the way those different technologies are developing, but the fundamental capabilities are still there in Air, and we can still build Air applications that do all of the interactive video. If it's just video rendering, of course, then hardware render it. It's going to be much easier to do that. Flash Player on websites, without a doubt, was the way to do things. If you wanted interactivity, if you wanted dynamic banners, dynamic websites, Flash was the choice to do that. HTML5 is taking over some of those capabilities, and to be honest, we think that's great. Adobe provides tools. We provide creators with the ability to create their assets, their websites, their videos, whatever it might be. Flash was a way of getting a consistent experience of those creative assets on those different platforms and different browsers. Okay, so now people are expecting HTML5 to do the same thing. So that's great. We still provide tools which provide excellent ways of creating HTML5 applications. So HTML5, though, at the moment is still in its infancy. Adobe is giving a lot of our Flash technology to the W3C to enable it to become part of the HTML5 standard. So going down the road in a few years' time, you'll be able to have HTML5 with very similar capabilities that Flash Player has today. Today, of course, it's still the Flash Player that has those capabilities, and Flash Player's capabilities are far greater than HTML5. But that'll change over time. Creative Cloud actually is a great way to get hold of Adobe technologies. It's very cost effective. Working in the cloud, storing files in the clouds are a much better way of working in the future. So as we see that marketplace growing, as we see people's internet connections getting better, then cloud services and Creative Cloud become much more viable ways of actually getting hold of our technology. Having said that, box products are still available. So although we're providing cloud services, we have no immediate plans to get rid of those box products. You're still going to be able to use it in the same way, buy it in the same way that you always have done, use it in exactly the same way. We hope that with Creative Cloud, we're going to be able to turn around the technologies much faster, add new features, and build upon them at a much quicker rate than we do with our box products, because having it in the cloud means that we can actually put those technologies into the products without having to reissue or resell or anything else. So I'd probably advise going for the Creative Cloud, but you're still going to be able to have the box products. DRM technologies definitely at times interfere with the experience of consuming video. there are a number of reasons for that. Obviously, DRM is there to protect the intellectual rights of the creator of that video. And that's definitely something that needs to be done, and we need to respect that. So DRM isn't going to go away. One of the issues is that there are so many new devices, new technologies, different versions of Android operating system, and there's iOS, and there's different technologies for Microsoft. How do you get a consistent approach? And previously, and at the moment, the studios and those people who dictate the use of DRM tend to lock things down really tightly. So specific qualities of content as well as the DRM around that. As this market grows, as we become more familiar with Android and iOS and the different devices that will render video, actually you're starting to get a lot more consistent DRM across those, and DRM which doesn't interfere with the actual playback. So things like ultraviolet, the old DECE, having a standard method of DRM structure for videos will help to make that experience of consuming DRM content much, much better than it is at the moment. Motion graphics is becoming a much bigger area than it was. Can you move from being a motion graphics to full motion from static graphics? Actually, yeah, you can. Very much our intention with our creative tools is to give you that ability to move the artwork, the knowledge that you have into other areas. It's one of the reasons why our menu structure and the way that you do things in our applications is the same across different applications. So going from a static environment, going from layers when you're creating objects to pushing those through and enabling those to become dynamic and with motion actually is a logical process. And our tools are going in the direction of enabling to take those different layers and files and make them into dynamic motion things. So absolutely, if your core skill now is in static, then look at the tools, look at Adobe TV, and you can find a number of examples of how we can take that and start to animate it and move it along. We actually use a lot of different technologies to write our own applications. What's important is the performance of those applications. So, previously we've used a lot of Flash for panels and the visuals of our applications. These days we very much focus on what's the best language on that platform to make the applications as quick and as fast as they can be. So, for example, Lightroom is made with Lua. We use C++ in some. We use different languages to try and get the best performance. Today, absolutely, Flash is still easily much more powerful than HTML5. But let's go back and think about why was Flash created in the first place? Flash was created in order to get a consistent experience, a consistent playback, a consistent animation across different platforms and different browsers. Now, that's why Flash was created. Today, some of those things you can do in HTML5, and that's fantastic. Adobe makes creative tools, so we make technologies that you can use to build something fabulous. When it comes to playing that back, Flash has some great advantages. As people start to increase the capabilities of HTML5, then HTML5 will become a platform in which you can start to do a lot of those animations and playback and all the fabulous things that we do in Flash today. We at Adobe are moving some of our technology, in fact quite a lot of our Flash technology, actually into the HTML5 specification. So HTML5 will become more like Flash in terms of what it can do as we go further down that road. But what's important for us is the consistency of the experience. So making sure that it looks beautiful the way that you created it on any platform. If Flash is the best way to do that, excellent. If HTML5 becomes the best way to do that, excellent. We have no problem with that. We don't see a great contention between Flash and between HTML5. Today, Flash is much more powerful. But in the future, as we move our technologies and our own intellectual property into HTML5, that will become something able to do the same as Flash does today. That's $1 million question. what we know is that television consumption has not decreased. So television consumption is at least steady and probably increasing year on year, even now. What we found is that second screens, internet-connected videos, so your phones, your tablets, your set-top box, your internet-enabled TV can consume content, but that works very much as the companion to modern TV. So I would expect to see the big social activity of watching a program still the domain of television, but the interactive second screen, the finding out more information, the buying what you're seeing on the screen, those kind of activities to become much more down to the second device. So I don't think we're going to see an end to TV at all. It's still the biggest screen, it's still the social activity. What we'll see is more consumption, extra consumption on mobile devices, and a lot more secondary applications coming out on those other screens. Cloud streaming, cloud storage have become important parts of our life. Will they replace the physical media? Will they replace having content on your own computers, your own storage systems? I don't think that's going to happen for quite a while, and there's a couple of reasons for that. Cloud storage, cloud streaming obviously requires an internet connection. Still today, there probably isn't the consistency of internet connections to enable that to happen everywhere. I don't want to have to go out of the city and find I don't have a connection and can't watch any of my films, listen to any of my music, access my files. So until connections become all-pervading, that's still going to be an important issue. There's a generational thing, there's a format thing, and there's a pervasiveness of the internet thing that has to be solved before cloud streaming and cloud storage can really take over from physical media. Project Primetime brings together a number of existing technologies into a single workflow. So you've got delivery of video content, Flash Media Server, Access DRM, these are being used very widely at the moment. Advertising servers. So recently Adobe acquired Auditude, which is an ad server technology. So you've got delivery and you've got the ability to put ads there. The third pillar of that is analytics. So understanding consumption, making better decisions about the ads. All of those technologies are available today independently. Primetime puts an umbrella over those. So it provides a single workflow that gives you delivery, it gives you ad serving, it gives you analytics to understand the consumption. So it brings all of that together in a much easier workflow than has previously been available. It's also focused around the player technology. So obviously, if you've got analytics, if you've got ads, if you've got delivery, you have to have a player that understands all of those. Previously, that's always been Flash, Flash or Air players. Going forward, the Primetime video player will be available natively on different platforms, but have hooks into the delivery, the advertising, and the analytics. So Primetime brings together and makes a holistic workflow of those three areas. Monetizing video is a big challenge to people at the moment. In TV, the model works really well. We understand the model. So adverts in TV is a well-understood business. But you can't translate that directly onto IP-connected devices. So your laptops, your desktops, your phones, your tablets, they need a different advertising model. And although people have put adverts around video content on those devices, it hasn't been properly integrated with those devices. So for example, either they're using the same adverts that they had on TV. Okay, that's a bad idea, because with an IP device, we can actually get far more targeted content. So we can give the right advert for the right person on the right device that is relevant to the video content that they're watching now. So that ability to focus the right ad is one important thing that IP can give us, and that's an area that we're only just exploring now. The second thing is actually moving the adverts into the video stream. With IP delivery on devices, quite often you have multiple bit rates, so you do the bit rate switching to get the best quality. The adverts have to be part of that. It has to be in the actual stream itself, so all of your adaptive streaming works. If it isn't, the experience is really bad. You have stopping and starting video, you've got buffer symbols everywhere. So putting video into the stream, making that video decision relevant to the person and the device is probably the way that people are going to be able to monetize video. And again, that's part of what prime time gives you. Adobe are very much focusing on that ad insertion, so getting it in the stream, and ad intelligence, getting the right ad into place. Once those two come together, then actually monetizing video via ads across IP devices, that's really going to work if you've got those two elements.